Yo, what is up guys? So today we're going to be showing off a Infernity deck that is absolutely going to be insane. I've already covered a lot of multiple negate Infernity builds, but this one, it takes the icing on the cake, so I've got to give you guys a new variant and slash updated version of the deck. So, and what's crazy is this isn't even the best play that the deck can do, which is crazy. You're thinking, oh, if you have 10 negates, well, how could it get better? Just wait, dude. Alright, so anyways, the first duel over here is going to be kind of like a bread and butter combo, pretty much just utilizing the star. You usually get that extra additional summon, getting to summon the Necromancer or Mirage, and then pretty much from there you're just going to go completely off. The end board will have multiple negates with, of course, triple barrier. There's also Infernity Break, which technically can be a negation in a sense too, because it will disrupt your opponent's plays. I mean, at the end of the day, do you need 10 negates? No, not really. But is it cool? Absolutely, because why give your opponent the option to maybe draw into something? I mean, the only thing that could really work is if your opponent happens to just have all of the Yugioh pieces. That's like really the only way. You cannot Dark Ruler no more. Depending on when they activate the hand trap, you can maybe still play through it, but obviously you can make this to just negate your opponent's negates, right? That's where that could be utilized as well. But pretty much your board is going to have all of the barriers ready to go, plus double break, which is also a form of disruption. Then this has an additional 4 negates, and then this is going to be another negation over here. So, and then at the end of the day, well, this had 4 negations. So we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 over there with the double breaks. Break technically, yeah, it's more of a disruption than a negation, but it gets the job done. And at the end of the day, it did basically negate mass change, if you guys get what I'm saying. It's just basically 10 cards to stop your opponent, and it's more than enough to stop almost any deck, unless there's very specific cards where it's like its effect cannot be negated by any other effects. But pretty much you'll be good to go. You see set Foolish Braille. It doesn't really matter at this point. And you may be thinking, oh, he had card destruction. You'll see plays. The deck is very, very consistent. In fact, this is more so an updated build to a previous build that we have shown off on the channel, which was like the original one was 8 negates. Well, it started off as 6, then it went to 8. I mean, again, it's unnecessary. I understand, but it's cool. Alright, so over here we're going to see the, once again, Void Calamity, fantastic card. Basically just get rid of a card in your hand and then throw in the Street Patrol right into the grave, and then from there just get cards that special summon themselves for free. There's lots of other variants if you don't want to run Gillosaurus. Instant Fusion could be maybe even an option as well, because new Master Rule. You could technically block another card too with the effect of the Millennium Eyes Restrict as well. Unfortunately, the only downside with this deck is it is definitely a deck that wants to go turn 1. Going turn 2, well, if your opponent doesn't negate everything that you do, well, you might be a-okay, but chances are it's basically a go turn 1 deck. The reason why I'd say that Infernities basically have to be turn 1 deck is because they require you to have no cards in your hand, and obviously, hand traps don't work too well with that. The only hand trap that actually works quite well is Maxi, because you can just be like, get rid of Maxi, and I just activate it immediately. But for the most part, yeah, that's pretty much the only hand trap that maybe Infernities would be playing, because again, anytime you could just get rid of it and makes your going second a little bit better. But we see Zero Max once again. Necromancer needs to be once per turn. I guess Archfiend needs to be once per turn too, but they're all their effects. I mean, like a hard once per turn. But you can see you can just keep on going into Necromancer, and then you just keep on going and using Mirage, and Necromancer brings back Archfiend, and Archfiend adds back the Break, which is a disruption over here. And here's where the play gets actually better, because you can basically have a Macrocosmos effect to your opponent's monsters, which is of course Herald of Arclight. It has this awesome effect where any monster start from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. If you could make this earlier, it'd make the plays a little bit better, because then they can't actually get rid of their cards and hit them into the graveyard. Not that it matters. I mean, again, when you have 10, well, that is also another negate in addition to having that Macrocosmos effect. So that's the first video was a 10 disruption slash negate, and this one is the same thing, but on top of that, you have that ability to make it so if your opponent does anything, well, it gets banished instead. Not that they can do anything anyways, because you just stop literally everything, because this is how this deck works. So I know a lot of you guys are like, yo, hook me up with the deck profile. I'll show you guys a few different ways, because again, when I upload some of these deck profiles, especially with, well, Infernities, I haven't covered in a while, but I know the consistency is the most important thing. And this deck is really easy. You can go right from Cherubini, you can go and do a lot of things and go right into it. This one requires a little bit of RNG sometimes if you want to use the draw effect, but if you just go ahead and have that ability to go ahead and basically get that monster reborn from your graveyard, you do lose the next draw phase, but it doesn't really matter. Not really, but this one skips your next main phase 1. There's also, again, like I said, you skip your next draw phase. It's still a viable effect if you want to RNG some of this stuff, but for the most part, you just go ahead and make some stepping stones and you end up making Yugioh, and because of the changers, you have really good consistency with this deck, and it's not uncommon to pull off the multiple negate play. Some will be better than others. Usually, it's pretty consistent on 7 negates. And again, 10 negate, or if you want the Macrocosmos one, that one will depend on your hand at the end of the day. But pretty much, your go-to end board is usually going to be enough negates. And, well, honestly, usually your opponent will just leave. Let me be real with you. No one wants to sit through most of these types of duels, and I totally understand, dude. I totally get it. So we've got, of course, the triple barrier, we got break, and then we got additional 4 negates, 5 negates over here, and we've got the AzneyesDragon to go ahead and banish 1, copy its effect. Not that we're going to get any additional effect right now during our opponent's turn, so it's just kind of sitting there for later down the line for your plays. But at this point, it doesn't really matter what your opponent does. You can literally negate every single card that they do. You don't even need to think, what does that card do? Don't even need to read. Yo, this would be a really great Yu-Gi-Oh deck for a lot of players because we don't like to read cards, so just negate everything. What does that card do? Just negate it, and you got game. Alright, let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile courtesy of AzneyesWhitedragon. He's always improving his Infernity build, and again, this is more of an update than anything, but quite nice. I think this was another newer addition here, but anyways, onwards with the deck build. So, of course, Infernity Archman, you gotta run it. It's at 1, though. Double copies of Street Patrol, 1 copy of the Patriarch, 3 copies of the Fiendish Rhino Warrior, 3 copies of Gillosaurus. It's just a free spell for someone. It really helps you just go into Cherubini, honestly. Like I mentioned before, if you want to run an Instant Fusion, I can highly recommend it because it does technically block. It lets you play through 2 hand traps. This deck, you definitely play through 1, depending on when it's activated. For the most part, you can definitely play through 1. 2, depending on what hand trap it is. The Giant Rock guy, well, you got to be able to negate that guy, or just, it depends on when they do it, because you can still have follow-up plays, honestly, with, like, Reborn Monster Gate. You can still do stuff. But anyways, yeah, Triple Gillosaurus, then we got Dangerous Tsuchinoko, Tour Guide from the Underworld, 2 copies of that, Icefiend Hyris, because, of course, you can add an Archfiend card. And then we've got 2 copies of the Psychic Wheeleater, and then we've got the Danger Jackalope, we got Infernity Necromancer, 1 copy of the Avenger, 3 copies of Mirage, which is basically what you need in the deck to get everything rolling, because you're going to go ahead and get that Foolish Burrow with the effect of Void Calamity, plus of course you have that Cherubini. And then we have 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, and then we have 1 for 1, 2 copies of Profound Pal Pop-Up, so basically it gives you 3 Foolishes from your hand. You get to cycle through some cards. You do lose a bunch of life points, but who cares about your life points when your opponent literally cannot actually outplay your plays. Zero Max does you go ahead and special summon Infernity and then go off from there. And then 2 copies of Monster Gate. Again, this really helps through hand traps or anything that would, let's say, negate an effect failure, the new hand trap. Also, that makes it so when the monster goes away, you take some burn damage. This would be excellent against that kind of stuff. And then we have Reasoning. Again, another card that will play through hand trap. Card Destruction. It's kind of a win harder card. You got to be careful with this sometimes, though. If you're playing against Darkworld, you might lose Kappa. Anyways, next up, we got Foolish Burial. We have Monster Reborn, the Into the Void. Surprisingly, this card's at 1 now. And then we have 2 copies of the World Legacy Succession, 3 copies of Void Calamity, what really makes the deck so much better. This is another one of those newer additions to the build here. And then we got Infernity Launcher, double copy of Break, and then 3 copies of Bury This. So this is our 5 Disruption / Negate. And then, of course, with most of the times, this is going to be additional 4, so that's like the 9. And then 10's usually going to be Void Ogre Dragon. But you could definitely make Trishula as well and get rid of another card. At that point, they're just down on cards, so then you're just going to win anyways. But for the extra deck, though, we've got Trishula, and we have 2 copies of Void Ogre Dragon. You can definitely make 2 of these. Same thing with AzneyesDragon. Then we have the Herald of Arclight. We've got number 60 Dugaris of the Timeless. We've got the Levier, the Sea Dragon, 3 copies of Sorry 1 copy of Appaloosa, 2 copies of Lambda, and then 1 copy of the Cherubini. But there it is, guys, the updated Infernity variant with 10 negates / disruptions over here. And on top of that, like the second replay I'll show you guys, again, you have that effect of the Macrocosmos, where any monster from the hand or main deck is just banished instead. So that's like the ultimate play. I guess you could make it like 10 negates / disruptions plus the macro effect. I don't even know what I've titled this video. I probably won't be able to fit the text in here. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn that bell so you don't miss out on cool new Yu-Gi-Oh updates to any other previous builds. And on top of that, any newer stuff that will be coming out very soon. If you guys want to see me in other replays just like my boy AzneyesWhitedragon, feel free to go ahead and send it into AzneyesReplays@gmail.com. And I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one. And if you guys want to check him out, I'll leave him pinned down below. Take it easy. Peace.